Hi everybody. This is going to be a quick video about how we can control our robots when turning. This is specifically designed to help you with the wooden maze, the physical maze, to be able to get through it and do some different things. Okay, so I'm connected up to my robot. We're going to create a when program starts block, and we're going to add a forever block to that. We kind of want this to be separate of everything else because we just want this forever to run. So under variables, we're going to create a variable so that we can see the angle of our robot. We're just going to call this angle. Doesn't really matter. And we are going to set angle right inside of our forever loop because we constantly want angle to update. We're going to set it to, under sensors, this was called the pitch angle, okay? This little icon here represents our microcontroller. And then there are three different axes, our X or Y and our Z axis. We have a pitch, a roll, and a yaw. Depending on the positioning of your block, your microcontroller, it might require a different one. So let me just kind of show you what we can do. So if I hit play and I move my robot around, you can see my numbers don't really change that much. It's like when I tilt it on its side that it changes. Okay, so that's not the right one. If I switch to roll, stop and play again. Again, when I turn it this way and this way, it doesn't work. When I pitch it forward though, now it does. Okay, so I'm gonna stop that. We're gonna go to yaw, which in my case is the proper one. Now we can see that when my robot turns to the left, we get negative numbers. And when my robot turns to the right, we get positive numbers. So this right here is really just so that you can see the angle. It doesn't matter what position your robot starts in, that is going to be the zero angle. So whatever it begins at starts off as 0. You can see that just updated to 0. Now when I turn this way, I'm at 90 degrees, give or take. So let me bring in another section of code here. So really basic intro code. We're going to set our movement, motors, set our speed. I'm going to repeat until my distance sensor is closer than 3 inches to an object. You can actually see I have this book sitting here, but that just represents the edge of the wooden maze. I'm going to move forward until we get 3 inches closer to this. Okay, so we're going to repeat until we are closer than 3 inches. After that block, we need to tell this car to stop moving, stop moving that motor so that it stops. And then we move on to our next step. Now this is our angle step, okay? So we're gonna say repeat until blank is greater than 89, and I'm gonna turn to the right. Now I could use my angle variable, but really that's just so that we can see the angle. It's better to, instead of setting it and then using it later on, it's better just to go back to the source, grab this block, which once again in my case says pitch, but it needs to say yaw. Okay, so now we're going to say, okay, when the yaw angle is greater than 89. Greater than is kind of important here, or less than, depending, because it might overshoot it by a couple degrees. So this still allows it to stop. So when we press play, see my robot went to the book till it got to 3 inches, and then it turned, and you can see now that the angle is equal to 93 degrees, right? So if I were to run this again, let's see if I get 89 degrees again. We're gonna hit play, goes to the book, it turns, 93 degrees. So I can tweak this number to hopefully give me a better results and get me a little bit closer to 90 degrees. I think that, anywhere close, this is certainly more accurate, even 80, 93, 94 degrees is more accurate than just turning based upon time. So here I say greater than 87. There it stopped at 91, like really close. Let's see if we increase the speed, if that changes our stop angle. So let's stop. We're going to 40% now, which is like twice as fast. Okay, 86. So see that the faster we go, the like worse it becomes. But you could set yourself up too and get crazy, and you could like, oh, now I've overshot. Now go back this way, and you can like mess with it. But you know, you can play around with those numbers and figure that out on your own. So again, this angle just shows us, it pops up in the side here. You can open and close this by pushing this button here. This is just a good visual representation. Again, when we say, okay, we want to turn to the right, we're going to turn until we're greater than 87 or 90 degrees or whatever we put in here. And then after we're greater than that angle, we need to make sure that the next thing that happens is the stop moving command before we move on to like our next set of instructions. Stop moving is always going to like stop the motor, and then we can move on to the next thing. If we didn't have this and we ran our code, now it just like continues to turn because we never told it to stop turning, okay? So that's why the stop turning is so important, or the stop moving rather. It's so important because after we reach the end, it stops. Okay, so that is a quick little lesson there. Hope that's helpful.